You're watching Seattle Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. We got a big show on tap today as we'll be talking about potential trade interest for DK Metcalf. There are several teams reaching out to see if they can snag the Seahawks star receiver. We'll get you the latest update on that coming up in just a little while from right now. Also, Trevis Gipson. He arrived in Seattle not too long ago, hasn't seen the field too much. Is he on the trade block, and where could he potentially land? We got some ideas that we'll discuss coming up here on today's program. I want to do a bit of a challenge to end the month of October. Halloween is tomorrow. I love Halloween, personally speaking. It's not a satanic holiday like some people say it is. What I want to do today is I want to set our likes record for the month of October. The most likes we've had on a single video is 679. Can we get 1,000 likes on today's video? If you are a Seahawks fan, if you love that we bring you daily free Seahawks coverage, you want to see the Seahawks beat the Rams this week, like the video. Simple as that. Help us out. Like the video. We'll get started with today's show. We begin with this report from the Washington Post's Jason Canfora, their NFL insider, who says that there are multiple teams interested in a potential trade for Seahawks wide receiver DK Metcalf, that they are inquiring to see if the Seahawks are willing to move on from him. Here's what Canfora had to say. Brace yourself for DK Metcalf to become this week's Cup. The subject of plenty of chatter. Enterprising general managers are reaching out to Seattle Seahawks GM John Schneider, as they have in the past. Seattle has two quality wideouts, and Metcalf's contract makes him the most obvious to deal. If any wide receivers are to be dealt, but interested parties aren't optimistic. Metcalf is one of Schneider's favorite players, and all at 4-4, the Seahawks remain in the playoff hunt, despite losses in 3 of their past 4 games. But widespread injuries have increased demand for receiving help, and the deals already made have diminished the supply. With a rookie head coach, Seattle is looking for long-term assets, so if nothing else, Schneider will have plenty to mule. Now, I'll say this, folks. This isn't new. We've been talking about the idea of DK potentially being on the trade market for years, right? A lot of teams have shown interest, and it's been the same thing from the Seahawks every single time. We're not interested in giving up DK, but that's not stopping the phone from ringing. Of course, teams want DK. DK's in the prime of his career. He's one of the best receivers in football. He's one of the best deep threats out there. I totally understand where these teams are coming from, and they see how good DK is and the position Seattle's in at 4-4. They got to be saying to themselves, maybe they're willing to move on from him. But from the Seahawks position, it just doesn't make sense to trade DK Metcalf. DK is arguably the best player on this football team, at least on this offense anyway. And he means too much to what the Seahawks are trying to do with this offense. And not to mention, the return on the investment just simply isn't there. The time has come and gone to potentially move on from DK Metcalf. If they traded him a couple years ago, we'd be talking about them getting a first-round pick. But now, with the way the wide receiver market has gone, with some recent trades that we've seen as of late, with Devontae Adams going for a third-round pick that can become a second-round pick, Amari Cooper getting traded for a third and seventh-round pick, things have changed. The market's just not there, so it doesn't make sense for Seattle. I want to keep DK here, and I'm also looking at a position where I'm just not going to get back what I feel he's really worth compared to what you could have gotten a couple years ago. So I'm against the idea. What do you guys think? Should the Seahawks trade DK Metcalf? Type HY for hell yes, HN for hell no. Weigh in the comments section and let us know what you think. Seahawks Today is bringing you the best Seahawks coverage you won't find anywhere else with our daily news and rumors, our live shows every Wednesday, watch parties every game day. We are also bringing you breaking news. If there was a trade, like if DK was sent off or if they brought in another big player, we would bring you a video as quick as we can here on the channel. We are your one-stop shop for all things Seattle Seahawks. If you love the Seahawks, this is the channel for you. Subscribe now for free. YouTube.com/Seahawks TV. We got you covered each and every day here on the channel. Here's the other thing with DK, of why I am adamantly opposed to the idea of trading DK Metcalf. He is playing the best football of his career right now. I know he didn't play this past week, dealing with that knee injury that he suffered against the Falcons, but DK's just been on a tear in 2024. He's already set a couple records, the most consecutive 100-yard receiving games in franchise history with 3. He also set the franchise record for most 50-plus yard receiving touchdowns in a career as well. DK's been on it, and you look at the numbers of what he's been able to do this season. 61 targets, 35 catches, 568 yards, averaging over 16 yards of reception and 3 touchdowns. He has been a problem for opposing teams to deal with. Trading him now would just be flat out stupid. It would be dumb to move on from DK Metcalf. And I know some of you are saying that, hey, wide receivers are expensive and they're replaceable and all this. I think last week was a prime example of what this Seahawks team looks like without DK Metcalf. You have literally no vertical passing threat at that point. You cannot afford to move on from DK. The $30+ million it's going to take to pay DK, that's worth it to Seattle. It may not be worth it to some teams, but to this Seahawks offense, with the way they have it structured and what DK does, you can't move on from DK Metcalf. Who is a player, though, the Seahawks should trade? Who is somebody that comes to mind that you'd like to see Seattle move on from? Let us know in the comments section. Today's show is sponsored by Game Time. Game Time is the place to go for the best seats, the lowest prices guaranteed. Whether you're looking for tickets to sporting events, concerts, theater productions, comedy shows, and more, Game Time has got you covered, folks. With Game Time, the thing that I love about Game Time is their last-minute tickets, their flash deals. Let's say that you're deciding on a whim. You know what? I want to go see the Seahawks play tonight. Well, you're in luck with Game Time. The prices go down the closer it gets to kickoff. You choose the event you want to go to. They got the prices listed. Then you choose your seat, see if you like that seat or not, get the visual, and then you're checking out on Game Time with Apple Pay, Google Pay, Venmo, all major credit card providers. And with Game Time, they have a couple cool features. One of them is their seat views, where you get the 3D look, see what the seat is like that you're choosing. It's a great tool. They also have their super deals. If you see a super deal, that's going to be one you don't want to pass up on. And with Game Time, we got a great offer that we are providing our viewers here on Seahawks today. If you use the promo code ChatSports at checkout, you will get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, first purchase only. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. What time is it? Game Time. Check out Game Time today. Another trade idea that's being thrown out there by the folks at NFL Trade Rumors is suggesting the Seahawks move on from edge rusher Trevis Gipson and send him to the Detroit Lions. The Lions, of course, without Aiden Hutchinson for the remainder of the season, their star defensive player. And you look at Gipson, he's been kind of phased out of this Seahawks defense despite Seattle trading for him at the beginning of the season. NFL Trade Rumors saying the following: the Lions' need at edge rusher is well documented, and head coach Dan Campbell admitted after Week 7 they probably need to make a move. If they strike out on some of the bigger name options, Gipson is an interesting fit. For starters, he's got size to fit into the team's four-down front and isn't just a third-down rusher like some other players available. Gipson had 7 sacks and 5 forced fumbles in his second year back in 2021 with the Bears, so there could be some upside in a rotational role for Detroit to tap into. Now, you look at it for this Seahawks team, you think about this. You had all these injuries that they've dealt with, right, at the edge rusher spot. We've seen Boye Mafe get banged up, Derek Hall, Draymond Jones, among others here. And even with all that, Gipson has been nowhere to be found. They have not called upon his name. Mike Macdonald has looked at him every day in practice and said, yeah, no, we don't need to put you on the field. If you look at his snap count this season, folks, this is it for Trevis Gipson. All they've played Trevis Gipson is 47 defensive snaps and 28 special team snaps. That is it at this point in time. So if you get rid of him, you're getting rid of a guy that essentially you're not using hardly at all. And this is where I look at the trade idea, and it's a little bit concerning because the trade idea that's being thrown around is you get a conditional 7th-round pick, which is less than what you paid for to get Trevis Gipson in the first place. So while I'm not opposed to the idea of trading Trevis Gipson, it does make me sit in this position of, oh, great. We're trading him and we're getting less back than what we paid for. That's not so great. You look at the statistics, though, for Trevis Gipson, and this season, we mentioned those snaps that he's been a part of. No stats. None. Has not recorded a single tackle. Nothing. Compared to what he did in previous years where he had as much as 7 sacks in 2021, he's just been nowhere to be found. With that said, I think that you look at Gipson, and some people may point to that, hey, it's not his fault. He's not given a chance and all this. Believe me, Mike Macdonald is not biased against Trevis Gipson whatsoever. In fact, I would say that there's probably a decent chance he encouraged the trade, that there was something that he liked. The fact that he's not getting snaps, not getting time on the football field, that's an indictment on him. That's not an indictment on this coaching staff. Should the Seahawks trade Trevis Gipson? Type T for trade, K for keep. Weigh in and let us know. If you enjoyed today's show, if you are a big-time Seahawks fan and want to help support us, simply like the video. Every like helps, goes a long way. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time here on Seahawks Today.